Nebraska recruiting has been blowing up over these past couple hours. We just received huge confirmation that a top 5 DB transfer in America is visiting the Huskers very soon, along with some news around a notable linebacker. What's going on with the defensive line? Can we fix that position by sign day? Some movement right now at the quarterback spot, whether or not the Huskers will get a new signal caller after Dane Raioula's decommitment. And speaking of Dane, we just received a huge update on the real reason he decommitted from Nebraska, what this means for Dylan's future. Is he transferring out? Spoiler alert, the family is not happy. I will reveal all that inside intel and everything you need to know, and then we'll wrap up the video with my preview of every single Big Ten game this Saturday and their heavy implications toward Nebraska. So really quick, this is a loaded update. Hey, if you're having a good Friday, because I know I am, hit that like button. And also, we are getting so close to 15,000 subscribers, and for good reason. This is the only channel on YouTube that posts daily content talking to favorite team, talking Huskers. It's no brainer. It takes 2 seconds. It's your turn to join the family. Help us hit 15K. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. I want to get things started with all the recruiting news right now, all the transfer portal news, because we know it's about to get hectic going into December, going into January. We are only 2 weeks away until sign day, and then we'll get to Dane Raioula, the real reason he decommitted, and what that means for Dylan's future. But starting things off with the transfer portal, we just received huge news that the 5th best DB transfer right now in America, Carrington Pierce, is visiting Nebraska next weekend for the Iowa game. Of course, he's coming out of Oklahoma State. He's 6'2", 190, all 4 years of eligibility remaining at 20 years old. Now, talking a little bit about Carrington Pierce, he's a very raw prospect. He started off his career in the JuCo ranks. He was originally a big-time basketball recruit before he went over to football, and he was blowing up in the JuCo ranks. Nebraska offered him initially. He had multiple interceptions, multiple passes defended. He was very physical, of course. You can see with his length, he's 6'2", very tall, very high upside. He ended up going over to Oklahoma State last season, did not play at all. They redshirted him. They wanted him to be part of the long-term plans, but of course, with Oklahoma State being what they are, one of the worst teams in America, he re-entered the portal, and now Nebraska has been going after him, and he will visit the Huskers next weekend for the Iowa game. So talking about Carrington Pierce, he's somebody who it's very high upside, and I would also say a very low floor, just because he's only been playing football for a couple of years now. Again, all 4 years of eligibility remaining. He's going to take some time to develop, but again, with him big 6'2", so speedy, so shifty with his ball skills. Yeah, I mean, this is somebody who could be in the mix day one for Nebraska. We know with Aston Williams, one of the best developers in America, along with John Butler. If there's any coach I trust to bring the best out of Carrington Pierce, it's both of those guys. So again, we'll be visiting Nebraska for the Iowa game. And we also know these JuCo prospects, again, he's basically a JuCo prospect. They're cheat codes nowadays because with the way it works, JuCo does not count toward your eligibility anymore with the Diego Pavia rule. So you can be, 25 years old and play 6 years of JuCo, and you can transfer to Nebraska. You can play 4 more years on top of it because JuCo's, it doesn't count anymore like it used to. So Carrington Pierce, Nebraska, try to take advantage of that. Again, all 4 years left, 20 years old, super high upside. Will visit Nebraska right now, the 5th best corner in America, and a bunch of big-time offers, but the Huskers are trying to lock him down. And then you also have Assad Chapman, who will visit Nebraska also for the Iowa game. He's 6'3", coming out of the JuCo ranks, one of the best JuCo corners in America, also 190. Again, very similar to Carrington Pierce, where he's super raw. But a couple things I like about Assad Chapman, again, he's a very physical corner. He can play all over the defense, whether it's boundary, nickel, safety. Again, great tackling skills. He can lay the boom on you. A guy who can go up and get jump balls as well. So Assad Chapman, very similar. Again, we're trying to take advantage of these JuCo guys, also 20 years old, also 4 years eligibility remaining. And we also know this. I know everybody talks about the offensive line, the defensive line, how aggressive we need to be there. Honestly, in the portal and in high school recruiting, we're probably going to be the most aggressive at the DB spot because, number one, Aston Williams, John Butler, the whole defense revolves around the secondary. Okay, the secondary is not very good. The whole defense isn't very good with this 3-3-5. We also know that we're losing everybody in the secondary next season, whether it's a C or right. And Andrew Marshall, who might go back to the portal, he's going to have a lot of interest. You have, of course, Marcus Buford, who's gone, Sean Singleton, who's gone, right? A couple big-time, notable players who we really like their futures in, who might leave as well. Because, again, the portal, it giveth and also taketh away. So just know the secondary is going to look completely different. In Nebraska, while we're going to be aggressive in the trenches, I expect Nebraska at the very minimum to take about four DB transfers, at the very minimum 3. And they're also going to be aggressive in the high school ranks because, simply put, we have punted on back-to-back DB classes. In the class of 25, it was not good. Okay, we basically landed all safeties, right? And Bryce Weber, who's a nickel, Tanner Turk, who's a project safety, Caden Vermos, who's a project safety, right? There's a high likelihood maybe none of those guys work out here. Okay, in the class of 26, you have Danny Odom, who's very good, but you need more than one corner to make a class. And while Danny Odom's a 5-star day one contributor, you need multiple guys just like him. So Assad Chapman, they're trying to get him to commit by sign day, coming out of JuCo, all 4 years left. And then let's talk about the defensive line, because again, I receive questions about this pretty much every single day. We are 12 days away until sign day. Nebraska, as it stands, still has 0 defensive line commits, so we know that we need to completely have an overhaul in that unit, not only through the transfer portal, but through the high school ranks. Because, and I know a lot of people say that, they say, well, we shouldn't go after any high school recruits because it's going to take time with all those defensive linemen. We should only get portal defensive linemen. Well, that's an incredibly dumb strategy. Yes, we're going to get some players in the portal on the defensive line spot, absolutely, but you can't only get portal D linemen because it's so expensive, right? To get a big-time nose tackle, do you know how much that costs? It costs $1 million, $2 million. If you want a big-time pass rusher, if you want one of the best pass rushers in America, that costs $2 million, that costs $3 million. Okay, so if you want to blow all your NIL and only go after defensive linemen, that's how you do it. So when we not only need transfers on the defensive line, but we need high school recruits because they're going to cost a lot less money. You can develop them, you can retain them, and they're going to be just as good, if not better, for a fraction of the price. So you start things off here with Dylan Berrymon, who again just decommitted from Texas. He's a top 100 player in America. He's a borderline 5-star. He's down to Nebraska. In the LSU Tigers, that's his hometown school. So he grew up to be an LSU fan. Of course, a lot of those Louisiana boys don't want to stay home, but we know with LSU right now, there's a lot of uncertainty. We have no idea who their head coach is going to be. We have no idea who their positional coaches are going to be. We have no idea what's going on with their NIL, the future with the transfer portal. So Dylan Berrymon, while maybe his heart wants him to go to LSU, he might think LSU is a better program as it stands. There's a lot of rumors right now he'll visit Nebraska for the Iowa game, and if we win that ball game, I expect the Huskers to move pretty quickly to get him in this class by sign day. So just watch out for Dylan Berrymon, one of the best nose tackles in America who can also play 3-tech. Talking real quick about David Chukwuemeka. Again, we're still on status quo, waiting for him to announce his visits. There's a lot of expectations that he's still going to visit Nebraska for Iowa. Again, he's down to Nebraska, Alabama, you got Baylor, you got Kentucky, you got Arizona, a couple other big-time schools there. But again, it's going to come down to money. David Chukwuemeka, the number 1 JUCO in America, super athletic, only been playing football for 1 year. But, I mean, you watch his film. It's special. It's special. He jumps on the line of scrimmage like he's a wide receiver. Again, he's 6'8". He's 300 pounds, but he's so agile, like a Victor Wembanyama who plays basketball. But again, they're similar because again, when you're that tall and that big, you shouldn't be able to move that way. And he moves like he's a wide receiver, like he's a running back. So David Chukwuemeka, hopefully visiting Nebraska versus Iowa. And if he does in fact do that and we win, and the money's right, which it is, he should be in this class as well. And then last but not least, again, we're still on wait-and-see mode for Devon Lewis. Again, he's going to be a sign day guy. He's probably going to commit on sign day down to Florida State, Nebraska, NC State. Pretty much nothing has changed there. And honestly, I think maybe in his heart of hearts, and I said this before, he might like Florida State more. He might have had a better visit to Florida State. Of course, that's closer to home, closer to North Carolina. But if he wants to make a business decision, he should go to Nebraska, absolutely, because we don't know if Mike Norvell's going to be there in just a couple weeks. And granted, it's trending like he's going to return. The recruiting class right now, Florida State's blowing up. A lot of people are committing there because of that notion that Mike Norvell's going to stay. But still, again, Devon Lewis, I mean, you're going over to a better head coach in Matt Rule, who you're already familiar with. Money's right, playing time's right. We'll see what happens. But right now, again, between Nebraska and Florida State, a lot can change in these final 2 weeks. And then let's get to a couple other updates right now. Recruiting, we just received news that Taylor Schaefer, who looked like he was pretty much on Nebraska's shoe-in, he has some family connections to Nebraska, he's visiting Nebraska for the Iowa game, just received news about 5 minutes before I started recording this video that he will no longer visit the Huskers for Iowa and pretty much will go over to Iowa State. It looks like that's almost confirmed. Then you got Mekhi Matulu, who will still visit Nebraska for the Iowa ball game. Get the number 1 interior offensive lineman coming out of JUCO, all 4 years left at 22 years old. He's going to be playing college football until he's 26. He can play tackle and play guard. He can play center down to Nebraska, Illinois. And I do expect to commit to Nebraska by sign day to be our Leon Noyle Jr. replacement. And then last thing I want to talk about in the recruiting ranks, Dayton Raiola kind of had a domino effect because after he decommitted, a bunch of other players started decommitting at the quarterback spot. You got the Vanderbilt quarterback, you have Cash Herrera who decommitted from Indiana, you have Brady Palmer who decommitted from Cal, and this was posted by Hayes Faza just a couple hours ago that, hey, expect a lot of dominoes going on in this quarterback class because, again, a lot of flips going on right now. So we'll see if Nebraska gets involved. And I told you guys that while Dayton Raiola is never going to play here, and while we got TJ for now, we have Dylan for now, we have Trey Taylor coming in, we absolutely need a quarterback in this class. Unequivocally, absolutely. Not because that quarterback's going to play. Don't get me wrong. If we bring in a quarterback, it's going to be a backup. But because we need depth. Because we know anything can happen. And I had the same debate with everybody last offseason. I told you guys, we need a quarterback transfer. We need a quarterback transfer because we don't have anybody. We had Jalyn Gramstad who was going to be our backup at the time. And Jalyn Gramstad was not good enough. and he still isn't good enough. And we didn't know Lateef was going to be as good as he is. So I told you guys we need a quarterback transfer, and everybody said, no, we don't need one. Jalyn Gramstad is going to be fine. And who did we take? We took Marcus Davila, who we thought at the time was going to be our backup. Unfortunately, it was a lot more raw than expected, but still, we need a quarterback because right now, as it stands, with Jalyn Gramstad leaving, with Marcus Davila probably transferring, with probably TJ or Dylan leaving, we'll talk about it, your backup quarterback next year is going to be Luke Longville. Do you feel comfortable with Luke Longville walk-on quarterback being your backup? So we'll see if Nebraska gets involved here, but a lot of options to pick from. We'll see if they get a quarterback in this class. I do think it is a real possibility. Okay, let's talk about Dayton Raiola, Dylan Raiola, the future of both of those brothers, and the real reason Dayton decommitted from the Huskers. Now, again, we've received a lot of rumors over these past couple of days, but there has been a new sentiment, a new movement going on right now on the message boards, on 3, on 24/7. This was talked about on the radio earlier today by multiple insiders. So pretty much what I'm about to tell you is almost confirmed. Again, it's all speculation right now, but again, when it comes from these insiders, when it comes from these big-time reporters, it's pretty much true because they know what they're talking about. And I also received a very similar text from somebody who I know down in Georgia who told me about the Dayton Raiola situation on Wednesday and told me again what's actually going down there. So again, he's somebody who's very plugged in with the Raiola family. So this is what's going on right now. You can take with it what you will. I'm not telling you what to believe, but this is what is talked about right now within the Nebraska circles, the real reason Dayton decommitted. It all stems from Dominic Raiola. Dayton didn't make the decision. Dylan didn't make the decision. It all stems from Dominic Raiola, which is not shocking. We talked about that a couple days ago on the channel. I told you guys this was Dominic's decision because Dominic, he loves his children. He's very protective of his children, but at times he's made some bad decisions with his children. You go back to Dylan. Dylan transferred high schools 4 times. Dylan committed to 3 different schools, Ohio State, Georgia, and finally Nebraska at the very last second. Dayton has also transferred away from multiple high schools. The reason all of them did that, it wasn't their fault. Like Dayton wasn't making that decision. Dylan wasn't making that decision. It was because of Dominic. And unfortunately with Dominic, he has a history of being very unloyal. Okay, a lot of people will say, oh, he's Nebraska through and through. Like, no, he didn't want his kids to go to Nebraska at the start. Who was the one who told him to come into Ohio State? It was Dominic, because Dominic thought that Dylan would have a better opportunity to go pro at Ohio State, which he honestly is probably not wrong at. So anyways, Dominic was the one who pulled the string, said, hey, Dayton, you got to decommit. We already knew that, in case that was reported by Steven Sipple a couple days ago as well on the radio, who talks to Dominic on the regular. But it was also reported by the same insiders that Dominic right now is not happy with Matt Rhule. He's not happy with what's going on with Dylan Raiola's future. He's not happy with what's going on with Dylan's future, with his career, because of the UCLA game. And this all stemmed after the UCLA game, which I told you guys 2 days ago, that the UCLA game had a huge impact on that family, on Dylan. Because Dylan, usually very vocal on social media, vocal about his boys, big leader, after the UCLA game. I didn't want to report on this, but he didn't repost anything. He didn't say anything about the UCLA game. Why? Because TJ balled out. Didn't support TJ, didn't say anything. And again, a lot of people asked me, I said, don't read into it at the time, but now it seems very relevant to bring up. But anyways, the talk right now is that Dominic was not happy after the UCLA game. He said that they called better plays for TJ, had a better game plan. It looked like TJ fit the offense better. It looked like Dylan Raiola has not been getting the development that they expected when he initially committed to Nebraska, like they would have got maybe at Ohio State, like Georgia. Dominic's not happy with the way that Dylan's career is progressing. He's not happy that the fan base is calling for a quarterback battle. He's not happy with TJ Lateef's success. And Matt Rhule, of course, refuted this. Matt Rhule said that, of course, Dylan's progressed. Dylan's gotten better from last year. You have to look at the stats. You have to look at the film. Of course, Dylan's gotten better. And that the UCLA game, there was no different game plan. They put it in a different playbook for TJ. It was the exact same thing that we would have gave to Dylan. The only difference is that Dylan has so much freedom over this offense where Dylan will get a play call and Dylan will audible out of it. Dylan will change up the play call because, simply put, he's a smart quarterback, but he'll read the defense and he'll say, okay, I got to change out of this. And TJ instead, TJ's still young. TJ will take the call that Dana gives him and he'll stick with it. He won't audible out of it. And a lot of times, Dana's play call is a lot more successful than Dylan's audibles. So no wonder that TJ had more success. He didn't audible. He didn't do extra. He wasn't trying to do anything special. And TJ, we know how athletic he is. So that's what Matt Rhule told Dominic. Again, this was reported on the radio earlier today, again, by multiple insiders. And that right now, with the way that it's trending, we don't know if Dylan's future is going to be here. Because with the way it's looking, TJ can obviously have some success. We know that Dominic's not going to stand for a quarterback battle. Okay, Dylan had a quarterback battle in his freshman year of high school. He ran from it, right, multiple times because he didn't want to deal with all this competition. Not because, again, this is not Dylan's fault. I don't want to blame Dylan for it, but it's because of Dominic. Because Dominic's the one who's, okay, I'm going to do this, which is best for my son. So again, take with this what you will. I'm not telling you what to believe. This was reported on message boards, on the radio by multiple people who, again, know what they're talking about, right? And I will say this from what I've heard, and again, you guys know me, like I do know some of the players on the team, right? I do know people I know all the recruits, talk to all the recruits, a lot of the parents who talk to me, right, who message me, and I can tell you this for a fact: Dylan Raiola wants to be in Nebraska. I can tell you that. I can also tell you that Dylan Raiola and Matt Rhule have a phenomenal relationship. While Dominic's relationship with Matt Rhule might not be great right now, Dylan has never wavered and he loves Matt Rhule. And Dylan wants to be here long term. But as we've talked about in the past, Dylan's not the one making the decisions. It's not him. It's his father. It's the family. And if they feel like it's in their best interest to enter the portal to get a bunch of money to go over to Oregon or go over to Bama or go over to Georgia, you know what? I'm not going to say that's a bad decision. That's actually a pretty good decision, really. Like, you might not be wrong. Those programs will develop you at a better level and you can get more money there. But it's something to watch out for. So again, am I saying anything around Dylan leaving? No, I'm not. Okay, again, you can infer whatever you want to infer based on that information. But I will say this, if he continues to ball out, something that we definitely have to monitor, but we know that, again, Dominic's the one pushing the strings, that it's been that way for a very long time, and he's also the one who made the call that Dane, you know what, he wants Dane to go somewhere and play. And that's not going to be in Nebraska. He's not going to play there, and he wants the best for Dane's career. So again, he's being a good father. He's been a good father, but just know that's what's going on right now. That's the information that's being floated around everywhere, on every social media app, and let me know your thoughts about that. All right, let's get to the final stuff today. This was reported by Troy Danon that the Big Ten hopefully is going to carve out a part of the TV deal to allow the blackout to be an annual occurrence. So let me know your thoughts about that. Do you guys want the blackout game to be every single year? I told you guys I liked it a lot. It was fun. It's a good environment. I don't know about every year, though. It would be cool like every other year. I don't know. We'll see, but it looks like they want it every single year. Matt Rhule said the exact same thing. All right, going over every single Big Ten game, rapid fire, implications for Nebraska. Tomorrow morning, got Ohio State of Rutgers. They should blow them out at home. You got Northwestern, Minnesota. That's actually going to be a sneaky good ball game. I would not be shocked Northwestern won. Would not be shocked. We'll see. And Northwestern's actually favored to win. Who's the favorite? Oh, Northwestern's the favorite too. Okay, I didn't even think it would be favorite. I do expect Northwestern to win that one in Clinton's bowl eligibility. They got a good team this year. You got USC, Oregon. That's, of course, the headliner. That's the biggest game of the week. You got to go Oregon. You just have to. I don't think USC's playoff material, especially from a defensive standpoint, how inconsistent their offense is. Nebraska should have won that ball game. Got to go Oregon there, especially given the fact that that's going to be at home. You got Michigan State, Iowa. Obviously notable because we play Iowa next week. Iowa should obliterate them. I don't think this will be a close ball game. Iowa should win by double digits at the very minimum. You got Michigan over Maryland. Maryland has not won since, September? They've not won in a very long time, and it's going to stay that way. Michigan should win because they're still trying to make the playoffs if they win out. You got Illinois, Wisconsin. That used to be a big-time ball game, not anymore. Wisconsin, of course, beat Washington not too long ago, but Illinois, they can still make a big-time bowl game if they win, and I do expect them to do that at Camp Randall. You got Washington, UCLA. Washington should take care of business in a very late-night Big Ten game. And then looking over the other runs real quick, any other notable ones? Mizzou, Oklahoma. Oklahoma should win there pretty easily. You got Syracuse, Notre Dame. These games aren't great. Are there really any good ones? Tennessee, Florida. I mean, that's not a good game. Pittsburgh, Georgia Tech's actually kind of notable. BYU, Cincy. None of them are really good this week, man. That's weird, but I'm focused on our game. Focused on us being Penn State. Again, I released my score prediction earlier today. Let me know your thoughts down below about that. Again, I went back and forth. I won't spoil my score prediction. Again, you make sure to watch it if you haven't already. But I just believe that Penn State's ineptitude when it comes to stopping the run is going to be heavily in Nebraska's favor. And again, I know they have talent. I know they're on an upper trajectory. They beat Michigan State. Michigan State's terrible. Like that Michigan State win does nothing to me. That doesn't change anything to me, right? They were expected to beat Michigan State. So we know that they cannot stop the run. We can't stop the run either, but they can't stop the run. We know that there's going to be a lot of Nebraska fans there. We know that Nebraska still believes they can win 9 games. We know that Matt Rhule, it's a personal game from him. He's been circling this on his calendar. He wants revenge on Penn State, right? Especially with the way their fans have been talking about him, right? He wants to go prove himself. We'll see. It's going to be a fun ball game to watch for sure. But let me know your thoughts down below. All right, guys, if you made this far, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe. If you made this far, hit that like button. And once again, comment your thoughts. Go Big Red. Go Earl. I'll see you tomorrow with my pregame hype-up video. And then remember, right after the game, we will be live on the channel with my reaction to Nebraska versus Penn State. We will keep it real. See you then.